On your face, and did he say he forgot his gloves?
He did, but you know, it's kind of like the shoemaker has no shoes. It's okay. He was too busy keeping us informed and updated. Didn't bring his weather gear. Blake, I've got some inside the
got an extra pair of gloves.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll lend them to you. In the meantime, we're going to go live back out to Janelle Ford. She's along the Grand Parkway near Mason Road. So, Janelle, have you been seeing traffic sort of slow down a little bit out there?
Yeah, no, it's definitely slowed down. A little earlier, we told you they were going to come through and start shutting down the roads. That's exactly what they've been doing. Sheriff deputies have been out here. They've been laying out these barricades, keeping people from being able to get on the bridges here on the Grand Parkway. As I told you guys earlier, the constable told us that they're shutting it down from alternate 90 all the way to the Harris County line. As you can see, that's what's happening. Not many cars riding through this area, but we have a few that are making their way down this way. And this black car, you can see that ice, that snow accumulating on top of it. So it's very indicative of the road conditions we're seeing out here. Now, unlike you guys talking a little earlier, when I moved to Houston, I did not expect to be greeted by ice and snow. Very surprising. I'm originally from Chicago, so not something I'm not used to so much, but you know, here in the South, driving conditions are something that drivers here aren't used to. So we've been telling you all morning, you know, make sure that if you are out, if you have to come out into this weather, make sure to drive slowly, not press on your brakes, and just be aware of the possibility for black ice out here on the roads. But as Mayor Sylvester Turner said earlier today, if you can stay home, definitely do that. As you can see, I'm getting pelted by kind of this ice-snow mixture, and I would definitely rather be at home, curled up on my couch with a blanket, watching this on TV. So for now, standing for Houston, Janelle Ford, KHOU 11 News. Back to you guys in the studio.
You know, we need to get driving tips from Janelle, fresh from Chicago, because she knows how to manage this kind of weather.
That's very true. I was thinking about it when I was driving into work today, and not too much ice on the freeway there, but I got nervous because I said, what if I had an icy patch and I started to skid? You really have to think about those things if you're out on the roadway and know how to handle that situation. So don't slam on your brakes, just kind of ride through with it. All right, thank you, Janelle. I hope you get to stay a little bit warm out there. In the meantime, let's go to Janelle Bluda. She's in Katy along I-10 at a Buc-ee's out there. She's been out there all morning. So Janelle, how's it going?
Hey guys, yeah, you know, Buc-ee's isn't as packed as it would normally be on any other day, but there have been a lot of cars coming in and out, and you can see on the pavement here in the parking lot that this ice is really starting to kind of pile up. You got to dig your boots in there to get to the cement. I mean, it's getting pretty thick. Look at this car right here. This is what we're seeing. Cars like this coming in here, people gassing up, mostly though people trying to get that ice off the windshield. We borrowed out our ice scraper a few times. I'm gonna come over here and talk to you. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
What's your name?
Jason.
Jason, we talked to Jason earlier. Okay, Jason, so tell me a little bit about what you're doing here.
Well, I'm low on fuel, so I had to fuel up today. We had some pets, so I had to go get some heat lamps. I was actually supposed to be driving out to West Texas today, but the roads were just crazy. It got a lot worse than I expected it to be.
So you said you have pets at home?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of pets?
I have 4 dogs, and my wife has a tortoise, which I had to go get heat lamps for.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. So it's interesting. So otherwise, you probably wouldn't be out in this right now.
No.
Talk a little bit about driving here. Where do you live?
I live over here off of 90, just over there by I-10.
What was it like?
It's a little slick. If you don't need to be on the roads, definitely don't do it. I shouldn't be on the roads, but I gotta make the wife happy today.
All right, no problem. So you plan on heading back home after this?
Yes, ma'am. Straight home.
All right. Was it hard keeping the ice off the windshield? I know that's a big problem.
At the beginning, definitely want to have good windshield wipers. Yeah. That's for sure.
Awesome. Thanks for talking to us, Jason. Be sure to keep those animals warm.
Thank you.
No problem. So yeah, guys, we're gonna stay out here and talk to a few more drivers. As you can see, look at this ice is accumulating here. I mean, it makes you excited because you think it's snow, but it's definitely not. Hi, how are you? Good, you filling up? Yes. How is your drive in?
It's good, yeah.
No problems?
No.
Are you working today?
I'm just got off.
You just got off work?
Yes.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Where do you work at?
BMW West Houston.
Okay, did they close?
Yeah, they just closed.
Okay.
So they sent us all home.
They sent you home?
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about driving out there. What's it like?
It's very slippery right now. You just gotta go slow. That's it.
Where are you headed now?
Home.
Home.
Home, yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking. What was your name?
Cliff.
Cliff. Thanks for talking to us, Cliff. Yeah, guys, so we're going to be out here for a little while still talking to drivers. hopefully not slipping too much on this ice here. But we'll check back in with you guys in just a few minutes. You can see it's really coming down right now. It's pretty cold.
Yeah, we can tell. Thank you, Janelle. And as she mentioned, that man was saying he was just getting off of work. I've been seeing a lot of tweets and everyone saying that businesses, stores, a lot of them that did manage to open this morning are closing at noon around lunchtime, because really the best thing is for everyone to just get home and get home safely and soon. And also she spoke with a firefighter out there, so we thank our first responders who continue to work in this weather.
Yeah, HPD, by the way, telling everybody that 610 East at I-10 East is now closed due to the icy road conditions. That, of course, is a major interchange, so stay off the roads there. And it's kind of interesting, just talking to TxDOT a little while ago, I was curious how high some of those flyovers are.
Yes.
So they say the highest ones for the Grand Parkway and for the tollway, about 40 to 50 feet. So, you know, that's pretty tall, 4 or 5 story. Well, maybe not that much, but, you know, 40, 50 feet, that's what they say. So it's tall, and it gets really cold up there.
Yeah, and you really don't want to be driving up right there, up on those overpasses because of the ice and everything. That makes it very scary. All right, let's talk about where this storm is heading and what's next for us in the next couple of hours. Brooks Garner here now to give us an update. Hey, Brooks.
Hey, guys. You know, the bottom line of this entire event from now till the end of it is we're estimating 5 more hours of precipitation, and temperatures will remain below freezing for that 5 hours. Winter storm warnings now all the way to the coast. This is very rare. This is like the second winter storm warning in the last 10 years issued for the Houston area, and for it to go all the way to the coast, even more rare. This is a huge event for our area, and it's only going to get worse because with time going by, the rain that's fallen will start to ice over. We've seen that in Conroe. Now we're going to start seeing that working southward. And it's almost like a flash freeze scenario where at some point it's almost like all the water on the ground agrees, yeah, guys, let's freeze up. And then it's frozen, all the molecules stop moving, and you get the ice. And that happens with a slow cooling. And what's going to happen is this. We're sitting here at about 5 minutes after 1. And once the sun gets a little lower in the sky, like around, say, 3 or 3:30, that flash freezing phenomenon is going to become a lot more apparent because we're going to lose that solar radiation that's bombarding through the clouds. It's microwave radiation, hits the ground, and warms up the street. And the precip's falling hard enough where even with that solar radiation, it's still starting to accumulate and freeze up on the sidewalks, even on the southeast side of town. So this radar map not only shows all the precipitation falling, but you see this green and the yellow? These are the above freezing areas. The yellow line is the 32-degree line. It's now made it all the way to the coast. So everybody is below freezing with the very exception of just the islands of the Bolivar Peninsula and Galveston. But here it is, moderate to heavy sleet. See these yellows and oranges? This is the kind of sleet that's really heavy at times. It's almost sort of like reducing visibility and can certainly accumulate on the grasses. A lot of you are seeing that. But notice we're getting a break from the precip. There's nothing happening in El Campo, nothing happening in Sugar Land or Columbus. And that's going to be the nature of this thing. Most of the precipitation happening north of I-10. If you eyeball it, there's little disturbances every 30 or 40 miles riding along this frontal boundary that's sitting on I-10. So if you're south of I-10, you're still getting the precipitation, but it's not as heavy and it won't be as persistent through the day. But we just had this one round go through, might catch a little break, then another round right here around Navasota, and then behind that another round once you get west toward Columbus and Schulenburg, then another round in San Antonio. And so we're going to see round after round through about 5 or 6 o'clock, moving from west to east. And eventually what you're going to see is this stuff goes a little bit north and then goes south. So places like Pearland and Friendswood that maybe haven't gotten the heaviest precipitation, well, you'll see it later on this afternoon. And the problem with this is you'll have it after the sun has reached its apex. It will start getting a little dark outside. The temperatures continue to fall. And what falls from the sky will have no reason to melt unless the roads have been treated. And so far we've seen mostly just the main bridges on the freeways getting treated. But as Judge Ed Emmett said, the side roads, the surface roads will not be treated. There's just too many of them, and we don't have the network of sanding trucks and vehicles. So what you see on the sidewalk or what you see in the parking lot where you are, maybe if you went to work, is going to start happening on the streets. And once you get that slick of sleet, you know, a lot of us here have street tires. You might even have the pickup truck, but you got those tires that let you accelerate quickly. You don't have the knobby tires. So you're running summer tires in a winter situation. That's just going to add insult to injury. But even if you got the knobbies, I do. I finally, when I broke down, I got the knobby tires. It was thanks to mud in my case. I got stuck in it once. But anyway, with the ice, there's just very little traction. So unless you're sitting on a snowpack, even in four-wheel drive, there's not much you can do. So just slow down out there. A lot of us haven't driven in this. I had the fortunate, I guess, experience in life too, driving the snow. I lived up north for many, many years and have been through many, many of these. And the key is speed. Keep that speed low, because then that makes your momentum lower, so you can actually stop. And when you turn the wheel, the car will actually go. But if you're going too fast, you turn the wheel, you'll keep on going straight and into a tree or something. So be careful. So again, most of this stuff north of Houston, it's moving west to east. We've got a bunch of it back to the west, and we're going to see waves of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a little bit of a disturbance here as well. You can kind of see it here. And what that'll do is tend to enhance the precip as it gets here. So with temperatures now firmly below freezing, going to remain below freezing, we're going to see that freezing happening on puddles where liquid water has existed. We're going to see glazing on sidewalks, and any additional precipitation falling as sleet will then start to pretty immediately accumulate. Now, the only places remaining above freezing right now, maybe the refineries around Texas City and also down by, say, the Hitchcock area and Tiki Island and also Galveston Island. And it looks like Bolivar Peninsula above freezing, but this line moves south, and so probably by 3:30, 4 o'clock, you'll start to see those freezing temperatures even crossing the Galveston Causeway. So to the north, this stuff is pretty heavy along 105. We've just seen these numerous closures on these roads, and they're just trying to keep up with it, but the precip is falling faster than they can apply what they need to apply. 290 is a mess out here in Brenham in Washington County. Once you get west toward, maybe you're heading toward the Austin area, you can imagine it just sort of exponentially worsens. So here's future track at 11 a.m. Notice the band of precip all the way back to San Antonio. And this is a very important depiction. I hope I put some pause points in here. Yes, I did. So we'll fast forward here through the timeline. Here's 3:30. You can see there's a little bit of a southward movement, still getting some precip, probably snow in Austin and College Station at 3:30. This is the sleet. And this model tends to take this toward the south eventually by 7:30. So it looks like at least 5 more hours of wintry precip falling in Houston. And at this point, the coastline, remember, it'll be dark here. It'll be dark by 6 o'clock, so whatever's falling here on the south side is going to ice up like that. These roads are going to be bad because overnight we're going to see a super hard freeze. When I say super hard freeze, I really want to put emphasis on that because we're going to wake up tomorrow to teens on the north side, like 22 or 23 here in Houston, maybe 23, 24 in Friendswood and Pearland. And so there's not going to be any melting. So tomorrow morning, roads are going to be pretty messy, and I imagine there will probably be delays. Going to work tomorrow morning, you got to be careful. A lot of people are going to let their guard down. They're going to see the sunshine out, and then they're going to go and turn that wheel, and the car keeps going forward, and some major understeer, which will result in some problems. This is what I mean. Temperatures right now, here we are, typically approaching the heat of the day, and we're actually seeing them fall. It's 26 at Bush, 25 Conroe. Now, 25 was the magic number in Conroe, where in the last hour we saw puddles, liquid puddles from this morning's rain freeze up. And when that happens in untreated areas, I mean, it's over. You know, all those surface roads freeze up. So we're definitely going to start to see that right now north of I-10, this afternoon south of I-10. 29 Pearland, that's well below freezing. Bridges, overpasses, but the surface road's probably still okay. It's just where that sleet has been coming down really hard. That tends to accelerate the process. And because we've seen this heavy sleet, and because the dew point levels are in the teens, in low 20s, wherever the heavy precip falls, we're going to see those temperatures cool down approaching the dew point. So at times when it starts really coming down, it'll drop from 27 to 25, and that helps to flash freeze and that sleet to accumulate. And that's a process we've been seeing all day long, especially north of I-10. But can you believe this? Can you believe this? At 1:09 in the afternoon, it is this cold outside? That's amazing. So future track, we're going to see most of this action hugging I-10, the corridor, the Houston Metro, through the next hour, and then a slow sag toward the south, a trend to the south towards sunset. So it's 6 o'clock, most of the precip south of I-10. But that still gives us a good 5 hours in the region for roads to continue to deteriorate. And once the sun goes down low in the sky and the temperatures stay cold, the real danger through this isn't necessarily what's going to fall between now and when the rain ends. It's going to be that very real reality. And I'm not even going to say potential because it looks like it's going to happen at this point, of those roads freezing up once that solar radiation impact, where you have those microwaves and infrared radiation going through the clouds, exciting the pavement molecules and warming them up to near freezing. Once that process ends after about 3 o'clock, it's going to start to freeze up. And especially when you're looking at temps tomorrow morning in the upper teens and low 20s for lows. And I don't think this model's overdoing this. I think it might be underdoing it. I think we might see temps around 18 in Conroe tomorrow morning. And so that ice is going to lock up like hard. It's going to be a hard ice. Black ice, as it's colloquially known, because sometimes you're driving along, you can't see it, and then you go to turn the wheel because it's like hiding just below the top of the pavement, and it's just enough to wreck your traction. So through the rest of the day today, icing to snow, only a dusting on the north side. It's mostly a sleet and freezing rain event, but these very icy roads setting up this evening, especially this evening. Man, the Arctic fronts come all the way through Texas. It's in the 60s and 70s in Florida, but in our neck of the woods, we are just sitting in the heart of this. And we get this occasionally, but if Houston Bush Intercontinental Airport did indeed measure snow today, measurable snow, it'd be the third time in recorded history that that's happened in the same winter season. 29 degrees forecast high today with temperatures falling. Here's a live view of the Woodlands. It's 24 degrees. Got the camera bouncing around in the wind. That's that good. Yep, Blake's over here. Blake, by the way, institutional memory. His knowledge is incredible of this area for the climatology, so I look to him for these obscure stats. So thank you, Blake. Here's a look at the satellite imagery. Clouds all the way back to really San Angelo, Del Rio. Dallas is the line where the clouds clear out and the sun comes out. So south of this, you can see just eyeballing these blues and purples indicating thicker clouds. I mean, we've got to get through this little disturbance here. See that little tiny spin? This is another thing that raises an eyebrow. Sometimes there are little disturbances that can form along the boundary, and then they'll work down the boundary just like a car of a train would work down train tracks and bring along with it all of the disturbance. So, you know, when a train passes, you feel that puff of wind. It's the same kind of thing, except that puff creates lift and can enhance precipitation. In the summer months, this can cause tornadoes. In the winter months, it can cause that plume of moisture to expand, and what was once just a couple scattered snow showers or sleet showers becomes more of an expansive, impactful event. Winter storm warnings continue across the area for today and this evening and tonight, extended down to the coastline, because even when the precip's over, even when all this gets out of here, the roads remain frozen. And just looking at this map, it goes all the way back. Look at this, all the way to San Antonio. So we've got to, if you were to drive west, it would take you over 3 hours to get there. This stuff's not going 80 miles an hour. It's going more like 25 or 30. So it's going to take another 5 or 6 hours to get to the back edge of this. So that's a look at the weather update as of this hour at almost 1:15. Sherman and Reka, I understand there are a lot of developments that have been happening around the region.
Yeah, we have a couple of quick updates. First, from the Houston Police Department, they're reporting this morning as of about 9 a.m. they've had 27 major accidents, 63 minor accidents. So yeah, it's a little dicey out on the roadways. Stay home, obviously, if you can. Also, another couple of quick notes. The Houston Grand Opera is canceling tonight's dress rehearsal performance of Elektra, though the regularly scheduled performance will go on Friday night. And Centerpoint says it has really only about 6,000 customers without power. Very small number, all things considering, and they're asking you if your power does go out, more likely as the day goes on later, please don't call. They have the smart lines, so that information will get to them automatically. Only if you see a downed power line, please call them and let them know.
Yeah.
But obviously, they're going to try to get onto things.
Yeah, and speaking of staying warm, you know, in the summertime when we have extreme heat, we have cooling shelters and places to go, you know, get some AC. Well, now we have warming shelters. There are 3 that are open in the area. One is the Houston Sobering Center. That's 150 North Chenevert Street. South Main Baptist Church is opening its doors to people. That's 4100 South Main Street. And Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church, that is 2801 Conti Street in Houston. So check up on your friends, check up on your family, make sure everyone has a warm place to stay. Bring the pets inside. The garage gets cold. Keep that in mind as well. So make sure you bring everyone indoors as we go through this winter weather, at least for the next day or 2.
Right, and at 3 p.m., Harris County will have another update. Judge Ed Emmett will be there along with other officials, including the sheriff. So we'll hear the latest from them in a couple of hours. But now let's get out to Jason Miles, braving the elements in the Conroe area. And I can't tell, is that maybe snow now flurrying around you, Jason?
Hey there, guys. Here, you're exactly right. We headed this way toward Conroe on the North Freeway a little earlier, and we were going through a good bit of sleet. We could hear it tapping on the windshield, you know. But now, as you might be able to tell, it's snow. And it's been this way for the last half an hour or so. You can see behind me, I-45, traffic still moving rather rapidly. People perhaps not heeding the warnings they're seeing on these electronic signs that say icy conditions ahead. Please drive slowly. This traffic seems to be moving along rather quickly. I talked to one man who traveled from Kemah down south going toward Huntsville, and he was explaining how he's seen multiple accidents. people crashing into the walls, trying to correct themselves, getting back on the highway. And of course, we've reported on accidents and crashes all over the Houston area. So please, people, drive carefully. Whatever you're going to, we'll be there when you get there, even if you were a little late. I talked to another couple who is heading from Houston up to Dallas. And you know, we're used to conditions being worse in Dallas in these types of events. But I was reading and hearing a little earlier how Dallas and the Fort Worth area may have escaped the worst of this winter weather, and actually Houston, for a change, getting the effects of this snow, ice, sleet, and freezing rain, the variety of winter precipitation today. But here near Conroe, you can tell the snow is starting to gather on the side of the road. The roads themselves, because of the traffic, are still not frozen just yet. And I saw one man actually scraping his windshield. I took this card out. He had a hotel key, a card key, and he was using this as his ice scraper. We've all been there, folks. I remember back in the day using CDs from time to time to scrape that ice off the windshield. But the best advice is to stay at home if you can. We've heard that multiple times today. And if you do have to be on the roads, just be very, very careful. Thank goodness you were talking about the warming center earlier. There was a Shipley's we passed. That was a warming center for me for a few moments, and thankfully they just made a pot of coffee, so that warmed me right up, guys.
Yeah.
Always the able-bodied reporter. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyone whose doors are open, you know, our reporters will run in just to get a little bit of warmth in there. Thank you so much, Jason. And yeah, that is quite an amount of snow and quite a bit of traffic out there too. I was surprised to see all those cars on the roadway. It's been kind of quiet in other areas, so people are not heeding those warnings, but they have to do what they have to do.
Right. And a quick note again from HPD. This just out as well. If your car got towed in all of this, you can go to online to find findmytowedcar.com. Pretty straightforward in case you need to find your vehicle tomorrow.
We'll be right back after the break.